I myself, how I look, I can't even eat that and look how I look. So
Yeah.
what makes you think you could do that, you know? And
Yeah.
sometimes you have to really hit them with a pain point where it really stings, but then they
Yeah.
begin to actually get the understanding where if I'm not doing that and I look this way, I work this hard, then there's no reason why you should do it if you're working half as hard as me. So
Mhm.
they like that type of approach where it's very raw, cutthroat to the point, and they're still adults and they want to be treated like adults. They don't want to be babied and coddled and
Mhm.
me to say, oh, okay, I know you ate 8,000 calories over. That's fine. No, if you went to a heart surgeon, you went to a doctor and he said you have to lose this much weight, you're going to die. They're very blunt. They're like, you're fat. You need to lose weight.
Yeah.
You have diabetes. You have 6 months to live.
Mhm.
Get out my office and let's get going.
Yeah.
They're very straightforward as they should be because you can't be a doctor and be like, all right, well, you have 100 pounds to lose, but it's okay.
In due time.
We'll book your funeral. We'll book your funeral
Yeah.
for you. Like,
Yeah.
no, it's you're fat. You need to lose weight. Let's get going. Here's some coach recommendations. Here's a nutritionist, and I really want what's best for you. That's true care and love.
What's good, y'all? DFOS back with another LT360 podcast. Super stoked to be back here with the all-time leading guest appearance for the LT360, Mr. Andrew Panther. He is, just awesome to hear from, to talk to learn from. I highly value his time and having him on here as a guest. And as I was telling him, just listening to our old podcast, we have captured so much and talked about so much. So it was invigorating. It gave me some motivation. I'm happy to have him back on the podcast, man. What is new? Welcome back.
Thank you for the introduction. I'm happy to be back as well. And if I can motivate somebody who motivates me, that's always a very good deed. So I'm happy to hear that.
You get what you give, right?
Correct. Yes, sir. It goes full
Absolutely.
circle.
Yeah. What is new, dude? Like, let's just talk about it. Candid. What's going on? We haven't talked in a minute. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, no, it definitely
wow.
has been a long time. So when was the last podcast? I think it was during COVID.
It was during like COVID. Yeah, it was within the first
Yeah.
like 4 or 5 months of COVID for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So it's fresh. So during that time, I felt like that was UI and the rest of the world's discovery phase where we were kind of trying to figure out being locked down, locked in the house, and
Mhm.
trying to mentally stay sane in a sense.
Yeah.
So since then, I gained a lot more weight because during that time, obviously the gyms and stuff are closed. So
Hmm.
I mostly was focusing on, I guess, more holistic lifestyle adaptations, meaning longer fasts, more running. Lots of running is what I was doing a majority of the time just to get more oxygen and connecting with nature. But since then, I've really reintroduced some running, not as much. My fasting very similar, but I started doing certain different adjustments, and everything else has pretty much been the same within the. I'm not gonna say it's monotonous, but it's very much the same process and different progress, and like slow and steady wins a race.
Hmm.
So I guess overall, I would say there's nothing too new. I had the same end goal. It's just been going through the ebb and flow and trying to recalibrate how I could get there faster so I could work smarter and not harder, if that makes sense.
Yeah, more efficiently, putting in the hard work, but making sure your time spent is efficient and not just, sporadic, which is dope. That's what it's about. When you say goals are the same, we talked, you know, a lot about your running, your fasting, and we had talked about your injury. You were recovering from an injury. So it was a knee injury, if I'm not mistaken. Um,
Mhm.
and you were at the time really trying to push for like making a living running. Like you wanted to take that to the international level, right? Is
Correct.
that still something that you want to do? Is that still something that you want to look into? Are you tracking that? Are you seeking that out, or has that changed?
That has changed, and I almost said sadly changed, but I don't believe it's a sad occurrence that it did change. Um, as you know, when I went up there to visit you so many years ago,
Hmm.
due to so much overuse and essentially overtraining. I had almost broken down my body to the point where I could barely sit down without any pain. I could barely stand up straight. I had chronic tightness in my hamstrings. So there were so many things that limited my ability to really tap into my potentiality per se. So what it did was begin to shift my mentality where I became somebody who was very efficient at working around any obstacle or boundary. So that one situation that really fortified my mentality, and I was actually spirituality as well, because I had to find a new, deeper faith within myself and my God, essentially that no matter the circumstance right now, there's always something on the horizon that's bigger, better, and more within what I need for me to be of a servant to others as opposed to serving myself.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like during that phase, I was going into more, it was more just for me. Like I wanted to get those accolades for myself per se.
It was a selfish
Yes,
endeavor
I would.
almost.
Yeah, essentially. Like, yes, I wanted to make it so I could get back and explain my story, explain how I was working as a full-time accountant at the time. I had limited time because 8 hours is strictly dedicated to work, but I was getting up at 4 in the morning, exercising for several hours. And then during lunch, I would do the same thing, work out more, do some stretching, breathing in my car because I was still fasting. And in the evening, I would be so excruciating tired, almost falling asleep at the wheel because of my strenuous activity throughout the day. But I would proceed to run straight there, go to the trail, have my work clothes, put it in the back seat, change my running clothes, and hit the road. And all these little things just pretty much made me feel self-proclaimed unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to now, many of those traits still obviously exist because I believe misery creates mastery. And I definitely have mastered myself in the sense that 1 year ago, I dealt with those injuries. They healed. They pretty much have regressed back into the past. But then last year, November, I broke my wrist, if you remember that. So I broke my wrist. It was my distal radius.
Mm-hmm.
That was November 30th is when I had the surgery. So November 23rd, I broke it at 5 in the morning when I was supposed to be working up before work. So clean break, went to the hospital straight after. I thought it was something simple like maybe very bad sprain. They did some x-rays straight through. As you see here, like there's like a scar. I don't know if it shows, it's kind of
Yeah,
weird
I can
angle.
see it.
I had like scars. I had several plates, screws put into my wrist. And right hand of God, I didn't have a victim mentality. I didn't have a woe is me mentality. I just took it as this is for me. I mean, that's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
I just took it as from the day I got out of surgery, they always ask you when you go through a certain procedure, like, do you have any questions? My question is, when can I begin exercising? I didn't have to wait anything else. When can I begin exercising? They were like, give it 3 days because you don't want to get any moisture within the actual wrap-in because you could
Mm-hmm.
get infections, bacteria, stuff like that. So 3 days after my surgery, I began doing full body, of course, my left healthy side and my legs every single day, continuously. During that phase, I was able to, because I had obviously no access to drive because of my wrist, I couldn't really be efficient at the office. So I took the time to go over. I traveled overseas a couple of times.
Where'd you go?
I just continued. I went to France. So I went to France. I went to visit Paris, went to Barcelona.
Wow.
Um, yeah. So initially was a trip though. So it's not like I randomly and spontaneously went. It already was
Okay.
booked for like 9 days. But with the wrist situation, I was able to extend it for 6 weeks. So like I said, there's little
Damn.
blessings in disguises, if that kind of makes sense.
That's
So
awesome, dude.
yeah. And it just taught me a lot about myself further in. And to bring this full circle, back then when I was getting injured and I told you it made me very efficient at working around things, it was the
Mm-hmm.
same difference now, right? There's no reason to pretty much stress or worry. Um, it almost gave me a fuel pack in my own endeavors because I feel like the things I might take for granted, which is simple things like exercising, I'm hungrier than ever, and I already was hungry, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
You had talked about in the last podcast the workaround method or the workaround mentality, and the you had talked about even like a guy who you met at the track who was an extreme endurance athlete, and he was averaging like over 100 miles a week, but he was almost 50 or 60 years old. And
Mhm.
you were like, his workaround mentality was like, if he had to go run in the rain the next day, he had a dry pair of shoes that he could alternate. So he would work around any excuse and he would find a way. You talked about Goggins, and that's how I think of you, bro. Like you're the Goggins of the LT360 world. You're like
Mm.
the just
Love.
yeah. No, bro, it's crazy. And I'm currently still reading his Can't Hurt Me Now book,
Mm.
which is great. And just wild to like some of the stuff
Is it the
that
physical or audiobook?
the physical book.
Bro, you got to get the audiobook.
Why?
It's
Why do
more
you
like a podcast intermissions of each chapter. So they
okay.
might go through chapter one, and him and the actual reader is somebody different because
Hmm.
he wanted the actual reader on the audiobook to not be him because
Yeah.
he said the book is for us, the reader. So if he's reading everything, yeah, we take more of his lessons as he can do it, but we can't. But when it's
Yeah.
somebody external, third person, you almost begin to familiarize that if this person reading it could be me reading it. And then him and
Gotcha.
Goggins go back and forth. He asks Goggins deeper questions. So, wow, at mile 100, your feet were broken, blah, 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 blah. And David Goggins goes in further details and just explanations. So I recommend the
Interesting.
audiobook. I've read
Okay.
both, but the audiobook, 10 out of 10.
Damn. Okay. I got to get on that. What platform do you have it on?
I use Audible. But
You
if I
use
had to
Audible?
guess, if you want a free version, I bet you it would be on YouTube by now.
Yeah, probably. That's all right. I'll definitely look into that then. But the idea of that, workaround mentality, and you dealing with that wrist injury, obviously now you've healed that. You have not, let that hinder you. You put on more weight, you put on more muscle mass in the last year. It sounds as if you're not doing the accounting job anymore. Is that safe to say? Do you have a different job? What are you doing
I
now?
actually still am. I still am doing accounting,
Okay.
but on the side, I'm also doing online coaching and I'm
Yeah.
doing media curation for other people as well.
Yeah.
So I
So
have
you were
like other side
making,
hustles.
yeah, you were making like video production, right? For other people, mostly workout individuals, mostly
Yeah, that's
people in the
correct.
fitness realm. Cool. That's what's up. And is that something that you do locally where you're going to the gym and you're shooting with this person and then you're curating the video and doing post production as well? Or how does that work?
Yeah, just like that. Pretty much schedule a time to meet a
Cool.
gym on their preference, and then we meet up there. We pretty much accumulate an idea, a
Mm,
storyboard. Okay, so what exactly do you want your audience and viewers to see from you? Like, what do you want to show? What do you want to exhibit that you have really worked on and built? And then
mhm,
I'm okay. So if you want to show your
mhm,
chest, let's really focus on emotion within the chest because it's this region here up.
mhm,
So we really need to have a certain focus and concentration on facial expressions.
nice.
And then we begin to pretty much piece everything together. And I sit down right where I'm sitting right now and I edit all day and night. It feels like just strain my eyes, but I'm a perfectionist with things. So it's
Yeah,
a lot of work and effort, but I'm always happy with the end result, as are they. So
cool. When did you just grasp like an understanding of this throughout doing it for yourself and like then it became like I want to do this for other people and make them feel the same way? Or was it something that you always kind of had a knack for and you've always been behind a camera? What does that look like? I don't remember you having like photography and videography skills, but is that something
yeah,
that
yeah.
you just cultivated on your own through doing it for yourself?
100%. And I would even
That's what's
say
up.
it's another example of a workaround effect. So
Mhm.
during COVID is when I initially got the camera and I wanted to begin to really grow and make my Instagram page more professional with the outlay and the layout. So I began seeing so many cool videos. And I'm like, oh, I want to do this for my page. Ran out there on a whim, bought the camera, bought the equipment, and then it hit me. All the cool videos I see, somebody is holding the camera to create it.
Yeah.
So now I have all this equipment and I'm like, oh my goodness, what am I gonna do? I tried to return it. They were saying I could only get 30% back within store credits. So now I had to keep it.
Mm,
How can I now get my money's worth within the camera? One, I can get a tripod, create my own content.
yeah, but it still
Two,
doesn't
I
have
could,
like the motion and the movement that you
yes,
want in the video. 100%.
exactly. So I just reached out to a couple friends and I would say, let's shoot a video. Let's see what I could do. So I
Yeah.
started, doing certain videos, and then I would at the time edit on my phone. Take me a couple hours, I say, to really pretty much happy with and fulfilled with. And then over time, as you know, with your business, you kind of gradually level up and you begin to introduce new things within the investments for your business and endeavors. So I got a Mac, and then from there, things just got very easy, got very streamlined, very efficient. And now it's to the point where I can go into any setting, whether it's lifestyle, cooking, workout, dog, whatever. I feel very
Confident in that.
yeah, very confident that I could do whichever.
That's what's
I'm
up,
very
bro.
perspicacious. So yeah.
Are you doing events like I had a business meeting this morning talking about how I'm going to roll out in my new program, putting the professional look behind it. So I was meeting with a videographer today. He does a lot of still shot stuff in nature as well. So he'll go like free diving and scuba, hiking. He's gone to like Yellowstone. He's gone to, all these different places on the West Coast that are, amazing places for still shots. And he does videography underwater, and he does fitness events as well. So um, have you done anything like that? Have you done uh like I'm sure there's fitness seminars and like workshops and like skill certifications that you might be able to get into, and they'd probably give you the okay to, you know, get these people. If you have a Saturday morning, you have 4 hours of people coming in to learn a specific like a kettlebell certification. You could go in and do anything like that. Have you done that for videography
I've
events?
never I never
No.
thought outside the box to do something like that. I've done
I
like
think
coaching one-on-one with the client, but I like that you kind of planted that idea into my
that
mind,
seed.
and I'm gonna
Yeah.
reach out for something like that.
No, it's a good
Because
idea, bro.
yours, yeah, yours is a two-day event, 1 day event. How do you want yours to be duration of time?
So mine's not going to be an event. Mine's for a program. So mine will be mine will be like a workout along with me. So I'm
Mm.
I'm narrating and doing the workout with you for Infinite Core, and that we met up this morning to talk about what that would look like. So that's what I got caught up in this morning. And we basically were going over like, all right, we're going to have a still shot or like a tripod camera here, and he's going to walk around and get um, the B-roll to throw in and mix in. So it'll be a follow along video, but we'll have different angles cut in. Um, and we'll do like still shots for the introductory to the program and all that stuff. So it's cool. I don't have a knack for that stuff. I have a little bit because I had to the same way. You're like, you're in the gym, you're trying to set up your phone and take a video and like make good quality content. And it's so hard, dude. And I just, am realizing now, and I'm grateful that I have a little bit more capital now to be like, all right, let's invest. Let's get somebody who knows what they're doing, who can put it together. And if it costs me a couple $100, that means I have to sell this many programs. That's my bottom line, and everything else is profit. And it's like there's so much value in having a professional look to it. So I commend you for that. And you're still in Connecticut, right?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. So I'm trying to think of like fitness events up there. Well, I know Perform Better is in Rhode Island all the time because that's where they're out of. Um,
Mm.
uh, there's got to be. I can definitely look and think. Have you done boxers? Have you done like fighting, UFC, MMA, boxing? Have you done videos for people like that?
I have not, but I have several friends who are into that, even at a professional level.
Yeah,
So
that would be
sometimes, like I
dope.
said, yeah, we get like tunnel vision and
Yeah.
focused on one little avenue, but there's so much broader things that I could kind of delve into. So I'm
And
happy you said
whatever,
that.
yeah, whatever interest you have, right? Like if you like the
Yeah,
idea of like, yeah, I mean, who does personally, I think if you're a guy and you don't like a badass like boxing video, like,
yeah,
some guy just fucking hitting the speed bag and then just
yeah.
and just getting after it. Um, when it's put with some good music and good cuts, bro, it's inspirational. That's why did we talk about Creed? Did we talk about Creed last time you were on the podcast?
We might have, but I'm not certain. And I just found out, I think 2 days ago, that there's a Creed 3 coming out. I did not know
Ooh,
about prior. Have you seen the trailer and stuff?
no,
Yeah, I haven't seen the trailer,
that's
but I
dope
saw
though.
the yeah. No, it's
That's dope.
March 23rd, 2023 is
Okay,
when this comes out.
23. Cool.
Hmm.
That'll be an interesting time for me. Baby's due on April 4th. So
Yeah,
uh
it's in that time frame. So it could be,
yeah.
so I know they say it's April 4th is an estimation, but it could come before, a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
after.
It
Okay.
could come before or after. Which is
Yeah, you
funny.
excited?
Yeah, bro, for sure. And we talked about on the last podcast, you asked me a question. You go, have you ever thought about like, the situation of like, how you want to bring up your kids in this world? Like if you're gonna have
Hmm.
kids, like how would you want to handle it? And like what foot are you putting forward for that? And I was listening to it and it was funny because we both were like, yeah, like we're young and like we got time and like there's who knows when we'll have kids, but like it's just about putting your best foot forward, being your best self, so that when you do have a kid, not only are your genetics different at that time and you're propelling you know your child to just a higher gene pool, right? But at the same time your life is habitual on a different level of like health and wellness. So you're bringing that person into that environment and you're bringing that child up in that environment, it automatically allows that child to thrive higher and better than we did, right? And like as a generational improvement should go, it's like you talk about with weightlifting, right? If you want to get to 335 on the bench, you got to first hit 300 and then 305 and then 315 and then 320, and you got to progress
Hmm.
individually. And the same thing, like our parents, and I know you talked about it a lot, your parents um moved here and like gave you a better life, right? And gave you a better opportunity, putting you in a different environment, and it took a lot of sacrifice for them to do that. But it has allowed you to now take two steps ahead. And the same thing, my parents and my siblings who have let me do that. So it's always it's funny now that it's coming full circle. And I do have a kid on the way and a baby boy that's what 3 months away.
Hmm.
So it's exciting, dude. Um, it's invigorating all the time. I'm like just sitting there driving like client to client or whatever, and just thinking about like, man, like there's so many amazing things I get to share with this,
Hmm.
with this person, with this child, with this, little human
With
that gets
you,
to, yeah, with
essentially
that,
you. Yeah.
yeah, that gets to like be a sponge. And I have a lot of clients now with younger kids, and it's just crazy too. Like my niece is 10 years older, is 10 years old, so she's not in that like young baby phase anymore.
Hmm.
She's becoming a woman, right?
Hmm.
As weird as that sounds, it's like she, has a personality, and like she will say stuff and not like stuff and whatever. So she's not as impressionable from like the you can talk and play, and she's just like
Hmm.
super, everything goes over her head, but she's just happy and joyful. Um, so it's funny now being around younger kids, and I just have a totally different mindset of like, wow, like this is going to be me in a couple months and like
Yeah.
how I interact. So it is cool, man. I am excited. I'm super just stoked to be able to share what I've acquired for knowledge, and be able to bring him up in a nice environment with putting health and wellness and relationships and all that stuff at the forefront of like
Yeah.
what life is about, traveling, all that stuff. So
Hmm.
um not to take this away from you, so what is your next step, right? If we circle back to making those videos, what is your next step? Are you trying to get out of the accountant thing and like make your online coaching and your video production full time? And are you close?
Yeah. Most definitely. So where I was working last time, it was just a level, I guess, entry level, pretty much accounting position.
Mhm.
But since then, I've had a better position at a different company. So, like you said, with the capital,
Congrats. Nice.
yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. So I just really right now want to have a very nice savings essentially where I can really go full time within investing in more stuff, as
Mhm.
well as feeling I can take that real big leap of faith and understand that I can really bump my head now and I have to worry about paying bills and struggling and adding
Mhm.
additional stressors to my life. So right
Right.
now I've just really been trusting the process, understanding taking things one step at a time.
Mhm.
Kind of like the analogy with the to get to 335, you have to go 300. You know, I'm just
Mhm.
going like that and gradually seeing how things are beginning to come full circle. So once I have a goal set for July of next year, I want to pretty much take that plunge and then begin
Nice.
to just yeah hit the road running and just see what I really could begin to produce for myself and as well as others who will
Cool.
hire me and trust in me and my work.
And from a fitness perspective, you're providing programs online. Are you through a certain platform? Do you have a certain app that you use? Like, how do you go about that if someone's
Yeah,
interested?
so yeah, I use Trainerize. That's mostly what I
Okay,
use to pretty
cool.
much roll up programs as well as track nutrition and
Mhm.
everything under that pillar for fitness and
Yeah.
health and wellness. So it's very easy to use and just kind of gauge everything because it's very
Nice.
integrated, the app. Like
Did you
what do you
white
use?
late? I don't use anything. If I make a program, I'll make it on Google Sheets for somebody. Uh, that is very few and far between, though. I don't really have a lot of like people who are doing their own workouts that I'm just prescribing them exercises.
Mhm.
Everything that I'm doing is more in person, service wise. So uh, I'm making more like blanket programs for people to buy that have more of like a specific niche. So I'm making the core program. I'm making the uh, I'm revamping the Limitless Combos program, which is circuit training, body weight circuit training that people can make up their own workouts. And then I am coming out with a soft tissue and mobility program. So like I'm hitting more of the niche things instead of just saying like this is Steven, this is his program and I'm making it for him individually. I don't really do that as much anymore unless like I said, one on one, I'm working with people, and then I don't really write. I don't really write programs for the people I work with individually. I am with them. I'm basically assessing what they need that day individually. They walk in because a lot of my clients are more sensitive from that standpoint. They're a little older, previous injuries, trying not to fall into new ones. They have activities that they like to do. They travel a lot. They got kids. So like they're every time they walk in, something else is kind of like, you know, priority. It's not like just hitting basic lifts. When you have
Mhm.
if my target market was 18 to 35, I'd be able to tell everyone, deadlifts, Bulgarian split squats, different variations of pull-ups, push-ups, chest press, shoulder press, like those broad spectrum things. I don't really deal with that as much. So I don't use Trainerize. I have friends that do and that love it, that kill it on there. Did you white label it? Do you have like your own like branding on there or no? Do you just have yourself as a coach? You do?
Yeah, I do.
Cool.
Like you said,
Awesome.
with you having friends who use it, I have a friend who's very proficient with it as well. And he
Mm.
put me on to the fact that you could almost personalize the logo on the app when they download it from the
Mm-hmm.
email onboarding. It comes up with Panther Fitness. So I'm like, that's
Nice.
cool. And it definitely made
Makes
kind
it
of what
more
you said with
professional.
the core. It's professionalism, exactly. So it
Yeah,
just makes it
yeah.
stand out more that you feel part of something, just not just a part of a app that you could get on the app store, essentially, you know?
No, absolutely. I've thought about it and I've even taken, business calls with people that work for Trainerize. I looked into Fitbud, is also a personalized fitness and nutrition app that you can do the same thing with essentially. Um, what I'm doing. now with my programs that are coming out is I'm putting on a platform called Samble, which is really, it's almost like Vimeo or YouTube for fitness specifically, health and wellness. So you can have live classes on there. You can host workshops. You can basically make these programs that are like part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. So people are working through them that way. I think it's a really good platform. It's up and coming. It's very easy to use. Everything's right there on your phone. You hit the video, you're watching it. PDFs available on there as well. So if you buy a program, the PDF will get downloaded. You have access to it right there. So if you want to talk about that more after, if you have any ideas for that, definitely a possibility for you.
Most definitely, I want to tap into that as well.
Yeah, for sure.
That was awesome.
So what is your main goal with, or let me ask you this, do you have a name for your fitness business? Do you have a name for your like video production business, or is it the same thing falling under the umbrella?
Um, I say yes and no. So at the end of the day, of course, I will be the face of it within all three things because I also do the like influence and stuff as well. But within that regard, I have like a Panther Media. So everything is Panther Media, Panther Fitness, Panther Mentality, but all origins with Panther, like my last name, because I take pride in that. So I feel like that's the true essence of it.
Cool.
Whatever the actual production is or the title of the business, it's gonna come after Panther because I'm
Yeah.
still an individual and the business doesn't make me, if that makes sense. I make the
Yeah, no,
business.
absolutely. And that's how, I mean, that's how I do it, right? It's limitless fitness, it's limitless nutrition. I just chose not to use my name, but my name's also not cool. It's not Panther.
Yeah, but your name is you, so it has to be cool.
Yeah. And I just didn't want to use, I like my personal brand of DFOS, and I like how I kind of have them balanced. I have gotten a better gauge on that as of late too, which is nice. I brought someone on to edit my podcast, and he's been crushing that, and he's been putting out consistent content in regards to that. So everything's kind of coming together. I have a virtual assistant that's working on building, the virtual or the digital aesthetic versions of my programs and social media posting and stuff like that too. So everything's kind of coming together from that end. But it is easier when you just choose one base name and then everything else is an add-on. Yeah, Panther Media.
Correct.
Yeah. And you have a website? Do you have like or are you just basically doing everything through social media and
Yeah, mostly. Yeah, mostly through social media, but like this is the fourth time you've said something that has planted a seed where I should just get a website.
Cool. Glad I can help.
Yeah, seriously, yeah, for real, because it just makes it same thing with professionalism. If you have a website, you can always have the Instagram linked to the website, but you can give somebody one thing, one shot, and it just shows contact, fill out a form, everything that I need for inquiries. So I'm definitely gonna get on that. And the same thing you said, we're just outsourcing, like is outsource on Fiverr or any like freelance website, and they'll do it. I just got to pay and then trusting somebody with reviews and
Yeah.
whatever that they'll deliver when I need it to be. So that's my next thing I'm gonna do. Because why not?
Love that. If you have questions, let me know. I mean, I'm not a master by any means, but I've trial and errored a lot of things. So
Okay. Yeah, now I'm gonna go to you.
yeah,
I
I
want to have
appreciate
my own trial and
it.
errors. Yeah, I'll skip the errors.
Yeah, we learn best from others, right?
Yes, correct.
So in terms of like what is, driving you, right? Because we have talked about, you're trusting the system, you're putting in your time, you've elevated your career, but you don't want to take any more elevation in that direction, right? You want to basically do everything, start your own, continue to build that, and you're doing that on the side, which is how we all should do it, right? um so what is what is your driving factor? Like if it's no longer the, pursuit of like Olympic trials, right? For as an athlete, is it just like you have a vision of what you like want your life to be and you just won't stop till you get it? Or is there like an underlying factor of, you want to get back to your parents or your sister, or like how does that look? What is driving you to be so motivated and so disciplined? Because it's not natural if you look at the broad spectrum of people in this country.
Yeah, no, correct. I feel like it's a minority when it comes to
Yeah.
being your own boss and, like you said, providing for others around you. So my main driving force, I would say, is one word, and it's freedom.
Mm,
Freedom that no one has to tell me when to be at a certain location. Freedom that I can tell my mom, if you want to go here tomorrow, go
mm,
book the flight, ask for this card, ask my assistant, blah, 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 blah. I have all these things that I've envisioned how life could be so much more simplified. And it comes just through the fruits of labor,
mm.
which we all understand at the end of the day. It's not
Yeah.
like it's easy to talk about it, but to put the work forth and be very relentless with the drive. Because some days, as you know, as pretty much entrepreneur the last several years, not every day is sunny, if that makes sense. So
Definitely not.
I've really just had a driving force just to really just change the lives of myself with freedom and others around me.
That's what's
That's what
up.
really wakes me up. It makes me just, there's no excuse. I mean, I have no excuse. That is the best way to put it. People have it way worse. So who would I be to really sit here and complain and say, I don't have time? Make time.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard a really crazy quote. He said, we have 168 hours in the week, right? And he said, you sell your job 40 of those. You sell them 40 hours of your time. And he said, the paycheck that you get, is how much you're selling your 40 hours for. And he goes, you just sold 40 hours of your 168. And most people will complain, and they'll spend all 128 hours complaining about the 40. Like, bro, you have 3 times as much to yourself.
Yeah.
And you're sitting here complaining about the 40 that you're underselling, and
Hmm.
you're only doing it to yourself. Um, and there's security in that. And like, I can see to some extent having a family, and I have this pressure of like, damn, I got to provide. Right. And
Hmm.
I'm a young entrepreneur. Um, who who has had success, like everything is going in the right direction, everything is improving, but now I have the responsibility of providing financially for my partner and for my son. So it's like, damn, I have no choice, I gotta make this happen, this has to work, right? And I'm gonna keep pushing and digging and like find every way I can possible. But at the same time, the people who are settling, the people who aren't necessarily seeking that like uncomfortability, um, they'll complain about it. And what's annoying to me is you're complaining about something that you're continuously putting yourself into, right? Like, you uh can't stick your hand in hot coals and complain that your hand hurts. Like, you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like,
Correct. Uh-huh.
and I just feel like a lot of people do that and get stuck in that rut. And it's unfortunate. And it's always invigorating and motivating to talk to someone like you who's putting in their time, doing what they want to do, but on the outside of that, they're making the life that they want to live, right? They're creating the life that they want to live while they're doing the thing that's allowing them to pay the bills at the current moment. For everybody out there listening, you have a different vision, right? A different pair of goggles on from where you sit. What can you say to someone who's in that position, who has that idea, like, I kind of want to make videos for people, but like I don't know where to start, how to do it? What is your if you meet somebody and cross somebody, and I'm sure you have, what do you tell people? How do you get them to believe in themselves almost?
do it today and do it now. I mean, that's the best way to put it. You're
Yeah.
gonna suck in the beginning, and that's okay. Everybody sucks the first time they try something. As you pretty much get more perspicacious and you seek out more wisdom and understanding of your craft and skills you want to develop, it almost begins to overnight just assimilate. It's
Mhm.
crazy. Like when I first started any of my journey, fitness or even videos, I get recommendations, suggestions now that come up on YouTube videos or social media, and it just kind of keeps filling my brain with more momentum because if I'm not seeking it, it's almost proof from, like I said, I'm a very belief in God. I'm a big believer in God. And I feel like if things just pretty much show up out of the blue, it's him giving me a sign that I'm on the right path. And it starts with
Like that.
starting today and starting now. Like don't waste time. Don't think, oh, I want to get this, I want to get that, or you have a nice camera, so it's easy for you to from your perspective say it's easy to do content. I started with my phone for 4 years before I even got a
Yeah.
camera, if you think about it. So,
Yeah.
and that's it. Just start with your phone. Start getting ideas of angles, start getting ideas on different perspectives, creative curation ideas, and then everything will crystallize in a
Mhm.
sequential manner. But just start today and start now. Like go on Google, look up certain things for aperture, look up exposure, look up saturation, just look up everything that is under the umbrella of production, and you'll be
Mhm.
surprised at how much stuff that you have. And it's a never ending journey. You always will learn. That's the one thing you always will learn. So don't think you know it now. Don't think the Hollywood directors know it all now. Things develop, things get better, better equipment, better software, and they have to relearn it. So start now, start today. And that's it.
And that's bottom line. Yeah, it's like in simplicity, if you want to go to the beach, like your mind goes, okay, well, I need to put my bathing suit on. Well, I need to get my sandals. Well, I need to get a towel. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
now that those things are in a bag, I need to get water and I need to get snacks and maybe a book. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
now those things are in a bag. Now I need to walk out the door and go to the car and put that stuff in the car and drive to the beach. Now I got to find parking. And it's like, it's the same concept. We just regulate things, or we choose to see the obstacles more often than we choose to see the opportunity. Uh,
I like that.
yeah, and it's interesting. It's interesting because it. Do you ever wonder? Do you ever sit there and go, "What makes me the person that sees that? Like, why don't other people see that? Is it something that I did? Is it something that God just gave me the ability for? Is it something that my parents cultivated in me? Do you ever reflect on that?
Yeah, definitely. Because I was the procrastinator. So
Mm,
it never really just kind of dropped in my lap. I
yeah.
was somebody who would say, I want to do things and casually know I'm not doing it. I could tell myself with confidence, look in the mirror, look myself in the eye, say, tomorrow we're starting at 5 in the morning, and I would casually hit the snooze button and I would feel no remorse, no regret. So it came to the point where you get tired of being tired. And then you really seek more things to really um
Fuel you.
to really begin to develop yourself and develop your skill sets and assets in that manner. And it's the same thing, like you said, with the power of simplicity. If you want to go to the beach, it's very easy to know what you have to do to get in order because nowadays is hard and complex is easy. It's very
Mhm.
easy to tell somebody if you want to lose weight, eat less, move more, focus on certain things with limitations and then restrictions, little things here and there, but they get more wrapped up on the words. But if you tell somebody something complex, like I don't know, for instance, like this is the best equipment and this and that, they're gonna go run out to buy everything. But the easy stuff is so simple, but they make it
Yeah.
hard. It's so okay, I have to eat less. How much less? Just try eating less and then figure it out. Trust me, if you just
Yeah.
start today, start now. Like learned everything by just getting into it. I started and then okay, I'm trying to get shredded. I'm still not getting shredded. And then I seek some more knowledge. Okay, to get more
Mhm.
shredded, do this and that. I try this, trial error. Okay. After a while, things just really begin to crystallize. And then this is how I look right now. And it really was just on starting that day where I was like, this is how I want to look. And I'm not going to stop until I look that way. And I blew past my envision of how I should look. My goal blew past
What
it.
are yeah,
Ions past it.
what are you at right now? How much do you weigh? What percent body fat? What are you at? Do you know?
I'm 190. And as for body fat, I never really did like a tracker, but if I had to guess, maybe like 8 or 9%, I would say. Like I have
Hmm.
veins on my abs and stuff like that. I'm pretty vascular. Um, I didn't really do any exercise today, but some cardio. So I would say right now it's about 190 and around 8 or 9%, somewhere in that range. And it's
Okay.
pretty much year round. I could like withstand this, and it doesn't feel like I'm restricting myself or I'm doing too much work per se. It feels very
Yeah, yeah.
effortless with my
You
routine.
don't. Yeah, it's a lifestyle you can maintain.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Um, cool. What did you do for cardio today?
So I've been running more, like I kind of said earlier,
Hmm.
within like the last I say 10 days, I began running 1 mile a day is what I was doing. Prior to that, I would do more walking Monday through Friday. And on my rest days on the weekend for Saturday and Sunday, I would run 6 miles those 2 days. Then I came across, like I said, a recommendation video by Elijah Long, is I think his name on YouTube. He's
Hmm.
more in a masculine development kind of creator. He explains to men, his audience, that
Hmm.
it's good first thing in the morning to do road work, which would mean running to get in a flow state because it forces you to kind of control your breathing. It's a
Hmm.
lot harder to run like opposed to and really trying to engage and be mindful of every breath. So it is more actionable instead of pretty much something that will set you back essentially because you're too
Right.
sporadic. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So since I've been doing that every morning after my workouts, I notice my day is been propelled just through a sense where I feel accomplished because
And do you
for
feel
me, it's a
more
lot
mentally
easier.
focused? You feel more
Yeah,
mentally
because it's a
focused?
lot
Yeah.
easier to lift than it is to run. And since I moved away from running, I forgot how bad it sucks to run. And when I say I'm going to do 20 minutes, 20 minutes feels like 20 hours. It's so today was excruciating because I haven't been doing it as often, but
Mhm.
I kept in the forefront of my mind, not back of my mind, the forefront of my mind that this is exactly what is going to make me better because it's a choice to keep going when I could stop. There's a stop
Mm.
button right there on the treadmill, and there's a go. I just kept focusing on the go. Just
Go,
keep
go, go,
going.
go, go.
You know, I mean, one step after the next. Time's gonna dwindle down, and once you
Mhm.
accept the reality that you are not in control of the time, time will do what time does. You do what you do, which is keep putting one foot in front of the next. You'd be surprised how fast things just kind of click, connect, and it's finished. So I did a
Yeah,
little bit extra. I said I wanted to do 20 minutes. I did 30 minutes. So that's my thing. If I say I'm gonna do a little bit, I'm always gonna go a little bit further of the expectation of myself.
cool. I went to LA Fitness and I had that business meeting. We had met up there to talk about everything, to get an envisionment and just like move as we talk. I don't like to like go get coffee and like sit down
Mm-hmm.
for a business meeting, you know what I'm saying? So we went went to LA and then we went in the sauna. So we went in the sauna for like 25 minutes. And we were talking like this, like back and forth, just like talking. And we were like 20 minutes in, and I'm like, bro, I am dying right now. Like this is
Dying.
yeah. I'm like, cause you don't most times when people go in the sauna, they just sit, you know, and you just like focus on breathing. And I used to like last year, I would go to the sauna a lot more when I was living in a different place. I would drive past LA Fitness like all the time. So I would stop in for like 20, 25 minutes at night. And I would just do like dips and push ups and squats and calf raises and just like basic body weight stuff in the sauna for like 15 minutes. And you feel like fantastic after.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't done that in a while. So once I'm in there, I was in there today and I'm like talking. And I've been in the sauna, but I haven't been talking while I'm in the sauna, like constant
Mm.
conversation. And you realize how much oxygen you're using and like how much breath is coming out. Um, so it's funny, 20 minutes in, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna have to get out soon. This is
Yeah, about to drop.
this is rough. Yeah. Do you do you still prescribe to fasting in like extreme amounts? IF, what do you do? What does that look like for you nowadays?
Yeah, so um last year is a year when I really took my body to the next level. And what I really did differently is I still did a simulation of fasting, but I would do a protein fast. So first thing in the morning, I would take a scoop of casein protein, and that's all I would have throughout the day, that one scoop. And then in the evening, I would break my fast at, let's say, around 5 o'clock, and I would have one piece of fruit, and I would have a protein bar, and then I would actually work out. Follow my workout, I would go home, and of course, I would then have my really big,
Yeah.
satiating meal.
Yep.
Yeah, now it's a bit different because during that time I was training in the evening, but now I'm training in the morning at 5 a.m. So what I do now is something similar where I take a scoop of protein powder, go to the gym, do my full workout with just fuel from that last night's meal. I can't neglect that. Last night's meal is still in my system, but I have the scoop of protein in the morning. After my workout, I then have a protein bar. I have 2 protein bars, and I have some decaf coffee. That's all I have throughout the day. And then in the evening, I once have my big meal, edit my videos that I took earlier in the day, and then just repeat that process. And it's been working tremendously right now, I'd say.
Nice. That's what's up. You had talked about when you were doing your hard OMAD, one meal a day, that you would eat like 4,000 to 5,000 calories. You would just like fucking pig out at night. Do you still do that, or do you have a little bit of a smaller meal now that you have some fuel in the mornings?
Yeah, so I do around 3,000 calories in total throughout the day, which is a lot less than before.
Yeah.
But before, I also was running a lot more. So now that I said I've been introducing the road work method, in this case, it's cold up in this section
it's
where
cold
you
up
could do
there.
road work in Florida,
Yeah.
but over here it's more treadmill work. So I do
Yeah.
treadmill work every morning. So I've been actually putting more fuel into my daily meals, maybe around 3,500, and I'm hoping maybe to get to around 4,000. Because as you know, with progression, that 1 mile eventually will be too easy, and then I'll go to 2 miles every day, and then try to start doing 6 to 8 miles on the weekend. But for now, it's around 3,000, very high in protein still. My carbs are moderate and my fats are more on the lowish, medium end.
Got you. Fats are on the lowish end.
Yeah.
Why do you choose that?
Pretty much just how it makes me feel. Before, obviously, I did keto for a very long time, and I would do something a little bit different where most people who subscribe to a low carb diet would keep their carbs under 50. I would keep mine to around 100 at the time, but my fats were super high and my protein was still kind of high. I started having lots of mental fatigue, lethargic, couldn't process any thought very fluently. And I'm an accountant, so I need to be very sharp. So I noticed when I begin to lower my fats to, it's not crazy low. It's like around 60, I'd say max. So it's not low, like some people do 20 or low. Like that's crazy for me.
60 grams, right?
Yeah, 60 grams, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I know people who do like 20 grams. And for me, that just doesn't make any sense because I'm already too lean as is. So I know if I do 60, I keep my protein around 250. And let's say my net carbs, because I eat a lot of fibrous foods, fruits, and I don't eat vegetables anymore, to be honest. I've been mostly just on like meat and fruits is like my main source of nutrition. Um, I eat my carbs is generally net carb out to around 200 grams. And that's just what has been working for me the last couple of, I'd say years at this point.
Yeah. Do you eat, because obviously the answer was a hard no when you were doing keto. But do you eat like nuts, lentils, rice, any sort of like wheat products or grains? Do you
I
eat
used to eat a lot of
meals?
nuts. I used to eat a lot of nuts, but I noticed I don't know if it's the salt in it, but it's almost like a point of no return. Like I can't just have a handful of mixed nuts. Like
Yeah.
I'm like addicted. I don't know. It's so good. So I end up having one, and all discipline I built over years just goes out the window. And then I now have to recalibrate my calories. And then I now had maybe 100 grams of healthy fat, though it's healthy for you, but now it's a lot more ticking and tacking and making sure my numbers meet. So I kind of stay away from everything that is under that window. And if I have a salt fixation, what I do now is I just get popcorn, natural, only like the seeds. I get
Mhm.
like those old lunch bag, the little brown paper bags.
Yeah.
Throw the seeds in there, put some salt in there, kind of roll it up, throw it in the microwave, and I have a big bag. It's around 200 calories. Bro, when I say a big bag, I mean it's a huge bowl. It's
Yeah.
around 200 calories because
Okay. Yeah.
popcorn is actually healthy for you based on lots of studies. It's just popcorn's not healthy when you get it from the movie theater and it's a
Yeah. All the
thousand
other
calories, you know?
places. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I've
correct.
always been weary of it just because of the corn itself and the ideology that we've, genetically modified corn in the crop
Hmm.
to grow at an exponential level for, basically it started in the 50s when we were trying to supply for World War II, um, and get food over to troops. So I've always been weary of, like, I don't really eat corn in any form. I don't
Hmm.
even like corn tortillas. Um, I don't know. You're definitely far more regimented than I am from a nutrition standpoint in like how you look at it day to day. You track your calories, you do all that. Um, I don't. Do all of your clients come to you for that reason? You track your clients' nutrition intake, your calories, you break down their carbs, fats, proteins. You do that for all of your clients too.
Um, Not necessarily, only some clients.
Mm.
So I'm very much a creature of habit, and I only really tracked 3 months ago. I was gonna do it for a week, and now here it
Mhm.
is. 3 months later, I still do it. I don't know why I do it. It's just as a routine. I say today I'm
Yeah.
not gonna do it, but I end up just doing it. It's annoying because I don't want to be so meticulous, but
Yeah.
I just can't stop because it's just how I am. It's annoying, but
You're a
most of my
numbers guy
clients,
too. Like you're a numbers guy.
that's what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I just see the
That makes sense.
puzzle
Yeah.
to analyze in real time, and then down a year from now, I could say I got in the best shape of my life.
This
What
way.
did I have for 3 months? And I
Yeah.
literally can look at what I ate in a food log. That's why I try to reason with myself, even though it's just pretty much me being not sticking to my word that enough is enough.
Yeah. You're
Yeah, but
That's funny. You're not disciplined in the opposite regard. That's funny, bro.
I mean, I almost can't essentially do it. It feels like so.
Yeah,
And
that's
to answer your
hilarious.
question a little bit further, within the clients that I have right now, they have very stressful days within their actual professions. So
Mhm.
I try to make it more simple for them, and I instead give them like a little template to maybe suggestions for meals that are high protein focused and still help them meet the other macros for
Mhm.
carbs and fats. But what I do is just have them send me pictures. I give outline, this is what I want you to eat, and then they send me pictures, for instance, like this is breakfast, this is lunch, this is dinner, and this is a snack.
Mhm.
I know with breakfast and lunch how I could recommend for dinner. Or if they have a huge breakfast, I can say, okay, I'm happy you enjoyed this breakfast. Let's try to focus on doing XYZ for lunch and dinner. And maybe we could keep the snack and save it for tomorrow. Just teaching them moderation that everything you have does not need to be today with
Yeah.
instant gratification of satisfying your stomach, essentially,
Mhm.
There's always
So,
tomorrow, I tell people.
yeah, absolutely. So, are you coaching them in real time throughout the day, like while you're at work doing like accounting stuff?
Yeah, correct. Where it could be easier, it's not all my clients. It would be easier, of course, to just pretty much give them a template and then let them do their thing and track. But the
Yeah.
ones who I could tell they're very almost antsy and they want to be a perfectionist, I know that could create a unhealthy relationship with food where
Mhm.
now, oh my goodness, I just tracked this. This is this much food. I shouldn't eat this because it's this many calories. I'm supposed to only eat this much. This is this much of that margin. I said, don't even focus on that. Focus on the scale, how you feel, your energy levels, all biofeedback markers, and then just send me pictures and I'll work with you. A lot of them do business meetings with work. So
Yeah.
if you go to a restaurant, send me the menu and I'll tell you what I would recommend and suggest. Um, and that's pretty much how I like to go about it. And it's
Nice. I
easy
like that.
because, as you know, it's a 2 minute conversation by text.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool. I like that. You seem to have a good grasp on that. And see, I'm in a situation where, well, we're in different situations from like what we do day to day, right? So
Mhm.
um where you're working from home, or are you going to an office?
Sadly, we're full time in the office again.
Okay,
So
all
I
right.
enjoyed it
Sad.
during COVID, but now we're
Yeah.
back in the full time.
So you're in the office, but you're you're at a computer and your phone is by you while you're doing that, obviously.
Mhm.
Um, I'm with a client, I'm with that client, right? So if I have, a personal training session, or it might be a body work session, um, then I'm spending my hands and time are like in that, right? So I don't do well, and I tried, and it hasn't become something that I can duplicate, the nutrition coaching the way you're doing it, because I won't get back to that person. It's just not, if I have 7 clients in a day, I can't be with clients and talking to other clients. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So so I'm trying to come up with a system that will allow for a community to be built around the concepts of nutrition that I like to teach and implement. And I've started to just also do more like talking and like seminars and workshops for my nutrition advice, to help other health professionals in the same realm, that are like trying to come up with other ways to interact with their clients or teach their clients, specific things. So I've been taking more of that route than the one-on-one nutrition coaching, because I notice like I can't fulfill someone's needs who might have a date that night and needs to find out what they should eat at the restaurant. I can't help you. I'm not gonna get back to you in time. So
Mhm.
it's cool that you have the ability to be that in person, or that personable with the client, because I think that's what we need more of. It's detrimental to just think like, oh, let's just give like a broad picture. A lot of fitness professionals will do this. They'll just give like a broad spectrum to all of their clients: eat oatmeal and banana, and then eat chicken and rice, and then eat
Mhm.
rice and beef. And it's like, okay, yeah, anybody could write out some basic meal plan like that and give it to people, but they need better. They need, what am I allergic to? What am I not allergic to? Do I have kids? Am I making 4 separate meals for my kids versus me? So it's cool that you have the ability to be that, you know, locked in, like holding arms with that client on a day-to-day basis. I recommend, definitely,
Yeah. I mean,
definitely.
those are all great points that you touched on. And
Yeah.
another thing is, I always tell my clients, I don't like bringing people on and almost reinventing the wheel. I feel like a lot of people have a general healthy, nutritional lifestyle already, but they begin
Mhm,
to eat other foods they're not supposed to eat in overconsumption. Where,
mhm,
okay, you might have had some vegetables, you might have had a salad for lunch, but then you had a whole entire bag of Tostitos as well with salsa and guacamole and queso.
mhm,
So I tell people, why not having a little bit of salsa, and instead of having a whole bag, have
mhm,
maybe a handful or two.
mhm.
And then I just teach certain little things that for some reason might be far-fetched for them, but I kind of
Yeah.
break it down like everything is in moderation. I myself, how I look, I can't even eat that and look how I look. So
Yeah.
what makes you think you could do that, you know? And
Yeah.
sometimes you have to really hit them with a pain point where it really stings, but then they
Yeah.
begin to actually get the understanding where if I'm not doing that and I look this way, I work this hard, then there's no reason why you should do it if you're working half as hard as me. So
Mhm.
they like that type of approach where it's very raw, cutthroat to the point, and they're still adults and they want to be treated like adults. They don't want to be babied and coddled and
Mhm.
me to say, oh, okay, I know you ate 8,000 calories over. That's fine. No, if you went to a heart surgeon, you went to a doctor and he said you have to lose this much weight, you're gonna die. They're very blunt. They're like, you're fat, you need to lose weight,
Yeah.
you have diabetes, you have 6 months to live.
Mhm.
Get out my office and let's get going.
Yeah.
They're very straightforward as they should be because you can't be a doctor be like, all right, well, you have 100 pounds to lose, but it's okay.
in due time.
We'll book your funeral. We'll book your funeral
Yeah,
for you. Like,
yeah,
no, it's fat. You need to lose weight. Let's get going. Here's some coach recommendations. Here's a nutritionist, and I really want what's best for you. That's true care and love.
yeah. I agree. I definitely hit people with analogies a lot, and they're like, "Oh shit." Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and they're like, "Oh, okay,"
It's that light bulb
and
moment. You can see it.
yeah, and you make a good point too. Like, you've built your body to be resilient, right? A certain level of resilience, and it's like, yo, if with that resilience though comes a level of self-awareness that is much
Mm,
higher than other people have, because the substances, the data that they're taking in, the food that they're consuming, the environment that they're consuming. We was talking about this earlier with my buddy, alters their ability to experience the feelings and the symptoms, right? So people who, shouldn't be eating gluten, for example, right? They like, oh, it makes me I feel bloated all the time. And like you tell them not to eat it for a week and they feel better. Um, and then they, might do that for 2, 3, 4 weeks and then they have it again. They're extremely sensitive to it, right? So they have to take themselves out of that environment in order to actually see how it is changing them and molding them, right? How almost numb they are to the symptom, because they just think it's a constant state of being, right? They don't realize that it's
correct.
like it's brought on by something. It's just constant. um and we have built ourselves to be a certain level of resilience, right? We're more resilient to more weight on an exercise than most people are, right? um we're more resilient to uh a cold and flu, bacteria or virus that's coming around, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then when you talk to someone who's coming to you for questions and they're like, yeah, but that doesn't make any sense. And you're like, yes, but like you have to hit them with that analogy. Like you're, you have opportunity for growth. And what that action is leading you towards is not growth. It's not where you're trying to get. So why are you making a simple thing complicated, right? It's like you can't expect yourself to eat good and want good food if you're in a bad environment or if you didn't sleep the night before because you went out and partied, right? Like you can't wake up and expect yourself to make a good decision, you know? Like you have to set yourself up for success. And a lot of people don't get that. And I think I talk to people in a way when I sit down for nutrition and lifestyle coaching, like that the analogies and like the revelations they have just make them so much more aware of like, damn, I really shouldn't be doing this. And if I do have a little bit of indulgement, like it's a little bit, it's not, I'm just going to indulge and then let that snowball keep going on. So
Because I already started.
yeah. So I really like how you brought that up. It's just like, we all do that. We all make mistakes. We all indulge in things that we shouldn't indulge in sometimes, but it's how much control do you have and how much self-awareness can you create around how often you're doing it and how much in that moment you're going to go over the line that you shouldn't be crossing. Because if you take 12 steps over the line and then you realize, well, we need to get you to a point where you take 3 steps over the line and then you go, oh, okay, I can stop here. And it's that level of self-awareness that people need, to really build, right? And that comes with going through hard exercises in the gym, right? What are you made of? What's your body capable of? How resilient can your mind be to being like, no, I can hold this plank for 10 more seconds. I've already been here for a
Mm,
minute. um so that's why I respect everything that you do, because and I've seen it transition too. Like when we first talked, how rigid you were in some of your ideologies and what you would talk to people about. And you've just from this conversation, I can tell you've started to mold yourself into this is how I see the world, but not everyone does, and not everyone needs exactly the same thing. So I appreciate that. I can definitely see the change in your mentality on how to share your information with people. which is cool. And I recommend, anyone who's listening to continue to go seek out what he has to offer, because he's full of information and wisdom. His content is amazing. It's motivational. Like I said, he's the David Goggins of the LT360 world.
No, that's love. I appreciate that.
Of course, man. Of course. What else is on your mind, man? What else is like just in your world that you've been thinking about recently? Anything in general that you're pushing for? Do you have any other aspirations past, being self-employed and, building your fitness business? I know for me, like, I want to be at a point where like that stuff is built and I have time to spend with my family, I have that freedom. But I think past that, like real estate and stuff like that, where's your head on those sorts of things?
Yeah, I actually do want to get into real estate down the line as well,
Nice.
just because that residual income month to month, and
Mhm.
it's not only for you, it's for somebody else. You could give somebody a place to stay, to live, to put a roof over their family at the same time. So I want to get into that as well. Another thing I need to work on that I've been trying to get better at is finding a work-life balance, where I feel like I've accumulated too much of a work mentality.
Mentality.
And
Yeah.
it's yeah, and it came to the point where um similar to what I said, where I could give tough love to people because it's true love. I have certain friends where even this past summer, one of my friends really made me think, because I was like, yeah, bro, let's go to the beach so I can make some content. And he's like, go to the beach to make content, not to relax. And I started thinking, I'm like, I want to go to the beach just to make additional content. There's never just a time where I want to do something for me. It's always, how can I benefit me, not how can I relax my mind? How can I be at one with being, God bless you, how can I be at one with just being in the present mind and just going with the present times? It's always, how can I pretty much somehow propel myself forward? So my main goal for this 2023 is figuring out more of a greater, healthier work-life balance, because I know I have no balance. I feel
Mhm.
almost like I have a toxic productivity mentality.
Mentality.
Yeah, I work all day, and then I feel like, damn, but I didn't do this thing for an hour. But I literally worked the whole entire day up to this point. So
Yeah,
yeah,
bro, I
that's my
hear
goal
you.
for this year. Mhm.
Um,
How are you with that stuff, with your work-life balance? And now
I
you have a family, so it's gonna be, it's a lot of balance you need to do now. How are
Yeah,
you gonna tackle that?
Amy has helped me tremendously with that. I still struggle with it, definitely. It's an ongoing battle and conversation in my own head of like,
Mm,
okay, I worked, I had 7 clients today. The 1.5 hours I had in between clients, I worked out, and in that workout, I recorded 3 videos. And in the driving time between clients, I listened to podcasts to help with business ideas. And I sent out texts to my virtual assistant and my podcast editor. And then I get home and it's 5:30 or 6 o'clock. And I have, 6 text messages from other clients asking questions, trying to set up appointments. And at all times, bro, I have like 130 unread text messages that like
mhm,
I just if I'm doing something, I'm there to do it. Like I don't open my phone to like go answer, a text message if it's not something I can do in that moment. If they're like asking for a schedule, like and I'm, going to the bathroom and like I have a minute and a half to check my phone. I don't have time to check my schedule and then see if it would work and text them back. And like then I get home and it's 6 o'clock and I'm like, all right, let me make dinner, sit down, relax. And then like before I was with Amy, it was like I need 15 minutes to eat and then I'm going to get back to doing more work. So I've
mhm.
definitely learned that like 6 to 9 o'clock is me, bro. It's me. I turn off. Yeah, it's had, and some nights, definitely some nights I go, babe, I got to get a couple things done. So we'll eat, and then like I need an hour to just do other things, and wrap something up. And she's understanding of that, and it's gotten better, to the point where like I can, just be comfortable saying that and know that, it's not interrupting anything. But it's 100% an ongoing battle for me, because we wake up at 5 o'clock every morning. Um, I mean, 3 or 4 days a week, 5 days a week, I have someone at 6:30 or 6 a.m. So it's like I wake up, we make coffee, take vitamins, take a shower, out the door. Um, and then I'm working, working, working. If I'm not with a client, I'm at home on my laptop going through emails, editing content, setting up podcasts, schedules, all that stuff. So it's just constant, constant, constant. And I've had to really step back. And she now also said, she's like, I love the fact that you're so driven, but like I worry sometimes that you're just going to work, work, work and like not be around, and I totally don't want that to be my life. I've told myself for years that I want to work so hard so that that's not the case, you
Mm-hmm.
know, so that I don't have to be told where to be and when to be there. And I'm slowly getting there. I'm like 80% self-employed right now. So everything I do is on my own accord. But that's also like a trap, because you quit your 9 to 5 to work 24/7,
Yeah,
like
correct.
but in the same regard, I can see where like going to the beach is an opportunity for you to like express things that you want to share with the world. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when you say like create content, I think there's a playfulness that you can have in that is good and doesn't feel like work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so my therapist even 2 weeks ago was like, "Yo, you just need to like work out sometimes. Like work out for you.
Mm.
Don't work out for the sake of like someone else or making the content, or like you just go do what you want to do." So a lot more recently, I've been playing more basketball, which I couldn't do because I injured my ankle last December. So like there's a lot of factors that play into work-life balance, right? So like I couldn't play basketball. So how would I work out? I would have to change that. I'd be in the gym more. Whereas like now I want to be outside. I want to go to the calisthenics park. I want to be in the sun, no shirt, no shoes, just like feel rugged in the moment, sweating, doing all sorts of random exercises, running around like a kid. That makes me feel good. That doesn't feel like a workout for me.
Yeah.
Basketball is like I'll go to LA Fitness for 45 minutes sometimes in between clients and just like bust ass on the basketball court and then go to the next client. And it's like I worked out, I burned 600 calories and I didn't even feel it, like I just feel
Yeah.
good. I'm like excited. And it it's funny how as someone, or as people who are like craving work and life are actually together, we're trying to find work-life balance, right? Because like what
Mm-hmm.
we enjoy doing is what we're trying to make money doing. But
Yeah. I like that. That's a good point. Mm-hmm.
yeah, but at the same time, there has to be a semblance of like turning off from the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it is hard. But like even after this, I mean, it's Sunday. I woke up by 8 o'clock. I went to a business meeting, got a little sauna workout session in, immediately had to go to the store, drove home, showered, got here. Now I'll leave. I have to record more podcast stuff after this. I'll leave. I'll go home. I'll have to set up my whole schedule for the week. So I'm texting 35 to 40 clients, trying to figure out scheduling and doing all that stuff. So like it's Sunday, but I'm gonna work all day. But it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's like a leisure work. It's like a lax
Yeah.
work. It's like a
Which is crazy, isn't it?
yeah, and I don't mind it.
But it's a
Um,
good crazy.
yeah, it's a good crazy. And I think we're not meant to like sit there and sip margaritas on the beach, right? We're meant to like when we say we want freedom, we want to be able to just do what we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if that means making money, to do what we want to do, that doesn't seem so bad, right? Like the goal of an NBA player is to play basketball because he loves basketball and make money doing it, right?
Correct.
Um, so I struggle with the ideology of the work-life balance in our situation sometimes, um, because of the fact that it's literally the opposite. We're trying to create a life where what we're doing and how we're making money are so intertwined with who we are day to day, right? Like your morning routine has content uh, opportunity in it, right? Like what you do every
Correct.
morning could be a piece of content that you create, right?
Mm-hmm.
So are you going to make a video at 3 o'clock in the afternoon about your morning routine, or are you going to just record a video based on what you're doing in that moment? You're documenting what your life is. And I feel like we're in a stage where we're documenting what our life is because it's how we share the information that we have with people, because people don't care about the information, they care about how we apply it to our lives, you know.
And that's the best way to put it. Correct. Yeah. No, that's
So
facts.
um people don't care what you know about training the biceps, they want to see that you do it, right? And
Yeah.
how you do it and how you hold yourself as a person while you do it. So you're not going to
Mm.
shoot a video telling them about it. You're going to shoot a video of you working out.
Demonstrating.
You happen to be doing biceps on a Tuesday. I'm going to set up my tripod and I'm going to record myself doing it as a piece of, you know, as a way of sharing that piece of knowledge. So we have intertwined lives, and the work-life balance thing is hard for me to comprehend sometimes. Like I'm sure it is for you, but I definitely recommend um, you take like 2 or 3 hours and you just separate yourself from the laptop, from the phone. Just like I'm not doing it. You know, if someone texts me, Amy's like, "Oh, they texted you," and I'm like,
Me too.
"Yeah." Like I as much as like I want to sit here and like be a yes man, like I can't. There's no possible
Mm-hmm.
way. You know, so um yeah, I'm glad you asked that question, obviously, because I just went off on a tangent, but it's a hard
Not a
thing.
valuable tangent though. It's valuable.
Yeah, no, I agree. Do you have any like practical insights that you're going to apply going into 2023, or like are you just kind of setting that as a goal and you're going to start to look into that more and like try to prioritize it more?
Yeah. So my main thing is doing what has always worked for me, which is the practice and art of mindfulness. So I now need to reason with myself, why do I feel this way?
Mhm.
Within feeling less than if I am taking some downtime to just relax. I can't even watch a show or a YouTube video without in the back of my mind that I should be working. But I feel like a lot of that is also the content that you watch, where you see all these people who want to be motivational. Like if you're not doing work 24 hours a day, you should be sleeping 2 hours. You get
Yeah,
almost
yeah.
caught up into that jargon that is how it should be. When they also have families, they probably do the same thing you said, which is 6 to 9. It's family time. I'm eating dinner with my
Mhm.
family. I'm gonna, you know, understand like everything is life and there's recovery. So there's life, which
Mhm.
means life is what you produce, what you create, and then there's recovery, which is when you relax and then you begin to assimilate um, greater thoughts. I feel like I
Mhm.
can't be working and thinking about things I want to do further. But when I'm kind of being in the present mind, that's when all my greatest ideas come to me for what I can do the next day or 2 days a week, and
Mhm.
further on from that perspective. So I think what I would do is pretty much be mindful when I have those feelings of less than or feelings that I'm being lazy. I just have to acknowledge, how can I be lazy if from 4 a.m., for instance, I've been doing work all the way up to this point? How could that be lazy on my textbook and in reality? It's not. So that's my main goal, is being mindful and observant of my thoughts and what is real and what is obviously fabricated because of what
Mhm.
I'm understanding from what I read and I listen to.
Yeah. Uh, you know how I said I think about real estate, right? So like my version of slowing down is like I'll put on a real estate show and just like you just saying like I can't even watch a show without thinking about like I should be working right now, and like what we consume drives us. Like we watch like these, like the realtor shows, right? And some of them are
Mhm.
like reality TV show, right? Like Selling Beverly Hills. But in that
Is that the million
process,
dollar listing ones?
yeah, yeah.
I've seen those are cool.
So we
Okay,
watch
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
variation of those things. We watch like um flip or flop. So like, are you gonna buy the house, or are you gonna like let it go? If you buy it, you're gonna remodel and flip it. Like all sorts of shows like that. Just randomly. Like it's like sometimes we just have it on in the background as we're talking, or like, we're doing stuff around the house and like cleaning. Um, just because like for me, it's a sense of like I'm still taking that information in. I still want it to be something that like plants a seed, something that like I learned, today. They were remodeling a house, and like the way that they blew out the kitchen wall, and like what they had to do in the process, and like what it cost to re-beam the house, because that was a weight bearing wall. And it's like, oh, it was only $1,200, and that includes like the demolition, that includes the new beams, and that includes the labor to install all of it, and like demolition. I'm like, $1,200. Okay, like that's not bad. It's just like something in my back of my head. Like I know we're gonna own a house in a couple of years. Like things like that start to plant a seed, and they just start to make you think like, oh, what are the possibilities? How do they look? And like we've jokingly said, like, oh, like maybe we flip some houses in the next couple of years. Um, and like so it's not work, but it's pushing forward, right? It's the thoughts going on in my head, or how can I use this in the future, right? And I don't know that I should just want to watch a TV show to turn my brain off sometimes, because it's like, well, time is finite, man. Time is something that we don't have a set, number on. We don't know when our time
Hmm.
is out. So we're trying to create a lifestyle that makes it longer, right? Gives us a higher chance of living longer.
Hmm.
And why are we doing that if we're gonna kill 3 hours a day? Like,
Hmm.
oh, I was just trying to kill some time, so I figured I'd throw this on. Why are you killing time? Like,
Yeah.
like what? It's the only thing you have is time.
At the end of the day,
Uh,
facts. Yeah.
yeah, and your time is useless if you're not healthy, because it's miserable. You want quality of time, and you want quantity of time, but
Mm.
quantity of time means nothing if it's zero quality, right?
Yeah,
So
correct. Hmm.
so it's like the idea of like turn off and just do nothing from 6 to 9 is weird too, because I don't like to do that. I like to get some semblance of like I'm learning something. Just stimulating my brain in a different way, right? Like trying
Hmm.
to find the value in everything. Um, and sometimes we just go for a walk. Like we make dinner and go for a walk. Um, Sometimes we just don't turn the TV on. We just eat dinner and talk and catch up, and like all those things, right? So um I commend you for just realizing that. There needs to be a shift, but I don't think if you talked to someone who is like a normal 9 to 5, or maybe doesn't own their own business, that they would understand you, you know, that they would understand what
100%.
you're experiencing, or like how you might have a hiccup with that. And they'd probably tell you like, oh yeah, just like Sunday fun day, like mimosas on the beach, or endless bottomless mimosas on a Sunday, for brunch, which is cool. You got to have like a social life. I don't know if you how that looks for you, but there's value in that too, right? Like just like there's value in me, finding a partner that I want to spend my life with, and having a baby, right? Like
Hmm.
those things, are experiences that you can't get unless you literally do them, right? Um,
100%.
yeah. So, well, let's wrap it up with that. From a social perspective, what do you how do you get out? What do you do for any sort of like, social life? How does that look? Are you still friends with people from high school and college? Do you go hang out with them? Or are you just more so like, if it's not business, we're not meeting up? Like, how does that work?
Yeah. I think that's also was the issue with the work-life balance, where I have I say two friends that I really still am very connected with and talk to a lot from high school. I still talk to certain people that we went to school with as well in
Mhm.
college. But overall, I feel like my social life is non-existent at the moment. And I feel like a lot of that is due to the fact that I'm just honestly exhausted. Like before, I still could say I was equally as productive, but on a
Mhm.
Friday or Saturday night, I could go out and drink and party. But I feel like
Yeah.
my lifestyle is so almost fortified where my enjoyment is just being by myself with my laptop, editing videos, curating stuff. It's just fun for me. But this shift really came last year, to be honest, when I broke my wrist because I was not able to go out and party and stuff like that because just God forbid I'm there and I fall. Because it was in the winter time. I didn't want to be
Yeah.
drunk and then I fall and I refracture it. So
Mhm.
since I said earlier in the podcast, well, I'm very habitual. When I was now out of the habit of going out every weekend and drinking and partying and just doing things that really had no benefit to my life in a positive manner per se, I
Yeah.
got out of it and I had to shift other things that I could do, which sometimes could be just calling a friend who I haven't talked to in some time and trying to spit game and soak up game because I also can learn from other people who might not know as much as me because we have different perspectives. So if somebody's more of a general pop within their lifestyle and understanding on how the world works, I can learn a lot for how I also could. So it kind of is still work though, because now I could reframe my marketing because
Yeah.
if I can market to you, there's a lot more people like you than who think like me and you, Dylan. So
Mhm.
I feel like that's mostly what I do. I just have conversations. I try to instill certain seeds of wisdom and understanding to people I love. And it always goes full circle because it's mutuality on both ends of it.
Mhm. That's what's up. So you're not really going out and seeking any like group settings really anymore. Um,
Mm-mm.
when you
I
go
don't
home.
eat out either. I haven't
Yeah.
ate out in, I don't know, like I really don't know when I ate out last. And it's
Mhm.
just a choice. It's not because I'm restricted. I just like eating. I like preparing my food. I like sitting down at my table. I like not having to wait to eat. It's just, for me, it's blissful. Just understand I'm in control of everything from start to finish. And if I want to go out, I still go out and I just won't eat. I just will get a drink, maybe some sparkling water, and they can eat what they want to eat. And I'm still there present. And I'm not staring at their plate like I wish I could eat. And I'm just in the
Mhm.
present. We could
You
talk,
just
have
chill.
fun, vibe, and stuff like that. So that's mostly what's been going on.
Interesting. Um, Good for you, man. I mean, that's like you said, you're a creature of habit for sure. Um,
Yeah, no, big time.
yeah. Um, I definitely was more like that still, like we were talking about before Amy, and getting into this relationship with her. Um, I was go home, eat as quickly as possible, ate at home all the time, all the days, and then would just work until like 10 or 11 at night and then go to sleep. Like we recorded the last podcast, I think it was, oh no, that was on a Sunday because that was like 3 hours. But the one
Yeah.
before that we had recorded at like 8:30 at night or something. We had did a night one. And that's what I used to do a lot of when I just realized like it doesn't allow me to serve my clients better the next day. And like we go out, we have other couples that we hang out with. My sister will go out with, and we're still very much part of like the gym community. Um, with it being a group, fitness gym, there's uh, 150 plus members or whatever, and all of us are really close. We see each other 5, 6 times a week. Um, all the time. They come to my classes, I go to their classes. I take class with the members take my classes. So everyone's intertwined. Amy and I met that way. She was a member at the gym. So we very much have like a lot of social connections just because of where we like literally met and where I work, so you don't necessarily have that. You would have, I guess, if you are going in the office, you have like your coworkers or whatever, but I assume you don't interact or talk to too many of them. You're just doing your own thing. If you have friends, you're probably going to the gym with those friends. Yeah.
Exactly, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's
most of
what's
my
up.
coworkers, like you said, you and the people at the gym that you've met with, where you do their
Mhm.
classes, they do your classes, how you find your partner for life. It's all once more intertwined with like-mindedness.
Yeah.
Most of my coworkers are
Not like that.
50s. Yeah, like the next closest person to me is like I'm 28 right now, and the next closest person my age is 36. So it's like I don't really have too much like mindedness,
Yeah.
but if they ever ask me a question in particular about fitness or eating or why don't you eat, I'm more than happy to kind of introduce some things I do. And then I also ask them questions about their family, their work-life balance, because
Mhm.
I talk to the CFO a lot, and I always try to get an understanding like how you could work 150 hours a week. And it's one thing to say on paper, like he's a nice car, a nice house, this and that, but it's how do you every day not get overwhelmed with the responsibility? So I always like to pick his brain and talk to him. And I learned a lot of stuff just through actions, not words, because I see how he is. I see how he's always there, like Monday through Sunday. And he says a lot of people want my chair, meaning his position, but they
Dang.
also don't want to be persistently on their phone.
Mhm.
Always have to be on their phone, always, because the owner, CEO, might have to message you. What's this? What's this $1 million transaction? What's this? What's this? What's that? Or why is the money this week lower than last week? So,
Mhm.
um,
People
long
want
story
the
short, I just felt like you could pick information. Yeah.
Yeah, people want the title, but not the responsibility. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Nah, which is
yeah,
facts.
yeah, which is, I mean, and maybe just like we find, 150 hours of doing fitness stuff not to be like
Work.
work necessarily sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
or at least even if we find it hard and it's draining a little bit, it's fulfilling, right? So he might find that same love and fulfillment doing that. And if not, then he's probably got his compartmentalized vision on of like, I'm going to do this for the end result, which is the car, the money, the lifestyle. This is the thing I have to do in order to get that. I'm just going to do it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
which hopefully self-aware of. I don't know, who knows. But you know what I'm saying though? Like if you're gonna do that, you have to be self-aware of it and make sure you don't get caught in it. Um, which is the balance, going back to the balance, what I've had to realize is like I was in a mindset that I couldn't have a family and pursue the dreams of building my business at the same time, right? How do they coexist? And I've realized that it's absolutely possible, and with the help of a partner too, it's almost like it's propelling, right? You have someone there
Mm-hmm.
sitting there like helping you, taking care of other things that you don't have to spend time with anymore, and like supporting you and pushing you and believing in you. And now you have a kid, and that my kid is, as he doesn't has no idea obviously yet, but he's a motivator, right? Like
I say limitless fuel. For real. It's
yeah,
limitless
yeah.
fuel for you. Yeah.
um so it's been cool to see that transition of like, yes, work life balance, but they're just because you have one doesn't mean you have to necessarily lose the other. I think it is possible to make them both thrive at the same time. So um I know for me personally, that's like been a big thing that I've had to go through since the last time we talked, which is a lot of self-reflection, a lot of understanding yourself and putting in the time and putting yourself in a situation where you are by yourself and having to figure those things out. So that's why I always enjoy talking to you, man. You love the task of like improvement. You love the walk, not the destination. Which
Yes,
is,
I like that.
yeah, man. I've always seen that from you. It's always invigorating to talk to you and get a bit of what your lifestyle is and like how you're going about these things, because people may not know what it takes, and just people have an understanding of like, oh, it just happens, like, oh, this person just happens to be a badass videographer, and they've always probably done this, and they've always probably been good at it, and they make these cool videos. I wish I had a knack for that. And then there's a story like you who's like, no, I just fucking started doing it because I wanted to, and now I'm getting good at it, and now it's going to be my business, and now I'm going to make a living doing that. I'm going to help other people, and I think more of that needs to be shared. So I just, once again, always can turn to you for a good conversation, for a good slice of humility and understanding. Like, put in your time, put in the work, learn, and continue to get better at whatever it is you want to get better at, and it'll serve you right. It'll serve the people around you in the end too. So
It's very well said.
thank you, man.
And before
What
we actually wrap up, I need to ask you one other question.
I was going to ask you if you had a question. What is your question?
Okay, so perfect. So I know you were saying with your morning you start and you have coffee. So right now I'm about 2 months cold turkey, no caffeine at all. What is your thoughts on caffeine? Because I have not necessarily noticed a difference, to be honest, when I really reflect on if I have caffeine or I don't within sleep or energy levels. But I kind of want to introduce coffee or some type of stimulant that has caffeine in it again. Like, what's your thought process on coffee, caffeine, black tea,
So
green tea, you know?
yeah, I remember last time too, you mentioned that green tea is one of your favorite pre-workouts. What I've been killing for a pre-workout, bro, is this right here. It's just an antioxidant juice mix. There's no concentrate. It's 100% juice. It's organic pomegranate juice, organic tart cherry juice, organic grape juice, organic purple carrot juice, organic cranberry juice, and organic blueberry juice. That's it. It's the only things that are in it. No preservatives, non-GMO, organic, like literally, vegan, gluten-free, all that stuff. Everything you can think of, it's just from Aldi. It's how it comes. And I love taking that before and after a workout. Like 6 to 8 ounces of that just makes me feel fucking like
You get to go.
amazing, bro. Yeah. But to coffee, I was drinking coffee. What I use is Four Sigmatic coffee. So it's
That's the mushrooms?
the mushroom blend. So
Okay.
they use a Colombian Arabica coffee, but it's mixed in with lion's mane and all the other mushroom types that help. So they have a dark roast, a medium roast, and a light roast. They use slightly different mushroom mixes in each one. I use the dark roast. It's the lion's mane. It's made more for focus. So when I wake up in the morning, I have 8 ounces of water. Then I have my isotonics vitamins, which is a powder you mix with 8 ounces of water. So I get my vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc, boron, B complex, CoQ10, all of that stuff in one. So I go water, vitamins, I drink 3 dates. I mean, I eat 3 dates. And we make a French press of the Four Sigmatic coffee. I am not a huge caffeine guy. Like, I don't, there's really no other caffeine that I drink. I'll make a green tea every once in a while. So I don't look at it as like I need the caffeine, because I can go without it. But what I do most of the time, and what I did today, is that I mix protein, with the coffee. So I get 4 sigmatic protein, a scoop of vanilla, and then I put the 4 sigmatic coffee that we French pressed. And then I put oat milk. The only thing in it is oats and agave. And I'll do that for like breakfast. So that'll be my, I won't eat anything till 12 o'clock at lunch. Um, if I'm going to work out earlier in the morning, then I'll have eggs, or I might have a banana or oatmeal or granola, and then do my work before my workout, and do this afterwards. So when I say I drink coffee, I'm drinking mushroom-based coffee. There is coffee in it, but it's about half the caffeine, and it's only really like half coffee. It's a lot of mushroom blend in there too. So I get the benefits of the lion's mane and the other mushrooms that help with neurological processing, that help with stress, and that help with focus and memory and those things. So I can definitely see how the caffeine in there, mixed with the protein, will help with appetite suppressing, right? So I know that I'm getting a lot of nutrients by drinking the coffee, adding the oat milk. I get dates in early. I got my vitamins early. I got water in. That's a lot, honestly. Like, I don't have to eat until 12 o'clock for the most part, because I always tell people this: get as many high quality nutrient things in your system as early as you can in the morning. Um, because unlike you, most people just struggle to find a routine for morning, breakfast, and lunch, and then they just pig out at dinner. They eat too much. It's too close to bedtime. They don't process the food correctly. They wake up sluggish, right? So for most people, I tell them, get as many high potent nutrient foods as you can in the morning. So for people, I recommend the isotonics vitamins, because it's absorbed immediately on an empty stomach. You get 90% of what's in there on the nutrition label in under 30 minutes. Your body, it's in your blood, it's in your system. So you don't have to break it down. The 4 sigmatic coffee, you're getting a lot of nutrient benefits there, the mushrooms itself. And then I tell people energy bits, algae. Algae is the most nutrient dense food on the planet. So I've talked to you about that before. So I'll take a handful of those. If I do feel like I need something before lunch, sometimes I just take it in the morning. Sometimes I just take it in the afternoon. I don't have a set time with that. I always take it though. So back to like full circle with the caffeine. I try to turn people off of drinking regular coffee. I try to recommend that they don't do any like drip that comes from plastic. I try to tell them that they should make sure it's a really high quality coffee. A lot of coffee has mold in it.
I have heard that.
Yeah, so I in terms of caffeine, I've had people that when they do a detox with me, if they're like really wanting to make a change and commit to like 40, 50 days of like real lifestyle change, I'll do a detox with them, and that first week is no caffeine at all. So I know if someone's really addicted to coffee, they're going to have bad headaches, migraines, possibly. They're going to struggle with satiation sometimes. So it is a delicate balance trying to get people to transition. I always recommend the 4 sigmatic coffee. It's good, it's clean. Once again, it has all the nutrient benefits of getting mushrooms in, which I don't think enough people get. And they're not really vegetables. I heard a crazy thing the other day that we're more like we're more related to, like, from a DNA structure standpoint, we're more related to mushrooms than we are to like plants and trees.
Is that so?
Yeah. Uh,
Interesting.
So it is interesting because it's its own kingdom, right? Fungus is its own kingdom, right? We have the animal kingdom,
Correct.
the plant kingdom, then we have fungus. So they say that based on DNA that we almost were like divulged from the fungus family, like
Mm,
as animals. It was interesting, but they said DNA wise we are much closer related. So I do think that mushrooms have a lot of benefit. I have not done like psychedelic mushrooms yet. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. But
it's
I
cool. Good experience.
yeah, no, I definitely have had a lot of people. Um I shouldn't say I haven't done. I microdosed just like sitting in a cafe doing work one day. Just put it under my tongue and let it sit there. And
Hmm.
it was a really it was a microdose. I could definitely feel though. It was a sense of like focus. It was a sense of like lightness.
That's
And
the word, lightness.
yeah, yeah. So I am a believer that if you're gonna drink coffee, you have to make sure it's really high quality. I'm a big believer in the French press. It's just uh, it's a good pure form of how to make the coffee and brew it. It's a longer process than the drip, so you will get a little bit more caffeine out of it for that sense. But I think it's just a better way to do it. So that's long story short, my thoughts on caffeine.
Hmm.
I don't really drink anything else that's caffeinated. I will drink tea every once in a while. I do think that if people are really struggling with like satiation, that it's a way to help them a little bit. Um, you can obviously get caught on the other end of that though too, where people go buy a 32-ounce Dunkin' Donuts coffee, right? And like they just don't eat anything all day. So they never get
Hmm.
any nutrients in. And then they eat shitty dinner and they eat it late and they eat too much of it. So they wake up the next day, they have no nutrients. They got no real good deep sleep because they ate too close to dinner. They're bloated and still backed up because they didn't digest it properly. So I just think that you know coffee is best served with mushrooms through a French press.
Okay.
But
And you do ground?
yeah, yep.
Okay. And where do you get it from? Amazon? You go to like a local store?
No, I just ordered Four Sigmatic online. I
Just directly
became
from the source.
yeah directly from them. I have it come on auto ship because I order the
Hmm.
protein. So I get the vanilla protein and I get the 2 bags of coffee every month. Um,
And the protein has mushroom extract in as well?
yeah, yeah, it has
Mm.
all of it in there. Um,
Okay.
so that's the only thing I use. And I mean, they taste delicious together. It's like a milkshake, honestly, when I put them together, because I
Mm.
use oat milk too. So Trader Joe's oat milk um, is only oats. It's literally the only thing in it, which is really hard to find. So it's like milky, it's creamy almost.
Mm.
Because like coconut milk is like weird texture, but oat milk has
Agreed.
that like creaminess that regular milk has.
It's like a
I
rich, like it's
Yeah,
kind
it's
of like,
rich. Yeah,
mm,
it's really
okay.
rich. It's creamy. So it's got that like thick texture to it. So when I have the protein, I have the coffee, I have the oat milk. It's like a
It's like a
milkshake
three in
almost.
one. Yeah, three in
Yes,
one delight.
exactly. 3 in 1, right? It's like, oh, I'm gonna eat oatmeal and I'm gonna drink my coffee and I'm gonna add protein to my oatmeal. Like for me, I just make it a drink.
Hmm. Like I said, it
So
sustains you throughout the whole day as well for the
yeah,
until
yeah,
12
yeah,
as
it's
well. Okay.
super filling. It's super filling. It's super nutrient dense. And I tell people that all the time. It's like I don't do anything crazy. Like me and Amy, we cook food, we eat dinner at home 90% of the time. And she cooks all most of the time. And we just eat regular meals. We just go about it in a healthier way. And I just fill my day up with nutrients, like so I don't get too caught up in counting calories and doing all that other stuff. I just know throughout the day, I've put a lot of good nutrients in my body. It's getting the raw
Hmm.
materials into the cells. I mean, I'm just a firm believer in that for sure. So,
Yeah. That's why I said that was a very good point where you said you like to start your day with nutrients. It's like you front load it because it's a
y-
lot. harder
Yeah.
to backload it when you don't need it when you're sleeping technically,
Mhm.
but it's energizes the cells like you said. So I like that. I
Yeah.
started taking like sea moss and moringa. That's kind of what I
Nice.
take in the morning as well when I take
Cool.
the casein protein for protein fasting. But I notice it's night and day difference when I take it and I don't take it.
Hmm. And the thing like you're talking about, right? Like CMOS and Moringa. No one knows that CMOS has 92 of like the 120, minerals that are possible,
Correct.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Same thing with aloe. Aloe has 90 plus minerals in it that,
Well, like aloe
people,
vera?
yeah.
I didn't know that, and I used to drink that all the time. I think the
Yeah.
last time we talked, I told you I used to drink it, but I haven't
Yep.
had it in years just because,
Well, a lot of them
um,
are so low
just
quality.
because.
Yeah, it's hard
Hmm.
to just get like pure aloe, and it, turn it into a drink. It is hard. But that's another thing that I drink pretty often. I dilute 150% aloe vera concentrate with water. So I'll do like 2 ounces of that and 8 or 10 ounces of water. And it's like, it doesn't, it's just like, for me, those things are so ingrained in just how my body and brain works. Like, I just know that I'm getting good fuel. Like another thing, right?
Hmm. The
Like it,
juice, the
the
antioxidant juice,
juice.
yeah.
Yeah,
You said
like
it's grape, cherry, purple carrots. There's like a lot of
yeah,
healthy
dude.
foods in there.
Pomegranate, cherry, grapes, carrots, blueberries. So like there's so much, like I just find ways to get so many nutrients in. And I don't eat a lot. Really. Like when I eat, I make like eggs and toast and like pesto or avocado. I'll make like almond butter toast with a banana. We eat dinners. For dinners, we'll do like noodles with vegetables and shrimp, or we'll do chicken and pasta with pesto. Like she makes sauces from scratch, and
Mm,
we eat regular people food for the most part for dinner. But like I know throughout my day for breakfast and lunch, I'm just nutrient packed. Like my meals are either liquid and full, just pure ingredients, or it's like eggs with like sourdough bread. So I'm getting some, I'll eat pickles and beets a lot. Like I don't complicate it too much.
hold
Um,
on.
no, yeah. So she makes everything from scratch. So like we don't complicate it too much. Like I don't, like I said, like I don't track my food. I just know that I get a lot of really dense nutrients in, and I don't eat a ton. I eat a lot of eggs. I eat a lot of pickles, and I eat a lot of sardines,
Mm,
beets, um, mm, sweet potatoes. Uh, do a lot of hummus. Um, so like I just make sure that my things that I eat are pure, they're quality, they don't have shitty ingredients in them. Um, and I've just found a way to mix all of those things into my lifestyle. Like people tell me they don't have time, to eat good quality food. I can't look at them and say, yeah, no, you're probably right, because I'm like,
hmm.
bullshit. Like I work more than you
Bullshit.
do.
Facts.
Like my schedules is probably more hectic than yours is, and there's no reason. You're just not educated on it enough, and that's why I'm here to
Hmm.
help. Like we can figure that out. How can we make, if you're going to drink coffee every day, how can we make sure that coffee for you is a healthy habit
Mm,
instead of a crutch, you know? Um,
hmm.
and that's how I try to go about it. If you're going to eat, lunch at a certain time every day, like how can we make sure that you have high quality food for that? How can we attach other good, habits to it, like taking other supplements, or, um, you know, doing anything that's attached to it. If you have a blood pressure medication that you take every morning, well, then I'm going to make sure that you attach 3 other things to that, right? That means you're going to eat this. It means you're going to take that, and you're going to drink 8 ounces of water every time that you take your heart rate. So you're already doing it. Let's just add a
Hmm.
couple extra beneficial things into it. So that's just how I've gone about it. I love that idea of just trying to front load nutrients. Yeah.
And it's smart. Like you said,
Yeah.
everything you said was very pivotal, and it
Mm.
makes it very simple for
Well,
everybody to pretty much follow suit.
yeah, that's the goal, right? Is like make our lives a little simpler, not overcomplicate it. So,
Hmm.
you have any other questions?
No, not really for the most part.
No,
Like we touched up on a lot of stuff, and the
we did,
caffeine
man.
one was kind of over my head floating because I kind of want to introduce it because there's lots of people who say that coffee is healthy, not coffee, but caffeine in general is healthy for
Mhm.
you, for what it could
Yeah.
do for you.
Well, the
There's even
benefits of
studies for
the
cancer.
yeah, the benefits of the coffee beans too. I went to um ISSN, yeah, International Society of Sports Nutrition Conference. So I'm a member of the ISSN now, and uh, I went to the first conference that I've ever been to for them was in Fort Lauderdale, like 4 or 5 months ago, and they have a lot of like leading researchers from all over the world that come and talk about, different portions of topics in nutrition. So creatine, how creatine helps with memory and is more like a brain drug than it is anything.
Mm-mm.
Caffeine. So I have notes on the presentation from caffeine that I could definitely send to you. Um, all sorts of like awesome subjects. Some of them boring, some of them like really like mind boggling, like holy shit. Like when they talked about the research behind like dementia and Alzheimer's and like creatine, you're like, wait, what? Like,
Yeah, never would have thought that.
yeah,
They explain nowadays.
Viagra too, bro.
Also,
Because because of Viagra helps with blood flow. They're saying that it crosses the blood-brain barrier and helps with cognition and memory
I
and
can see that.
yeah, so it's like crazy, you like learn all of these different things, and just not enough people know about it. But when you learn, you have the responsibility to take action on it, right? Implement it and then pay it forward and share it with somebody. So
Hmm.
um, I've gotten to the point where sometimes I forget how ingrained some of these habits are in my life that I'm like, oh, let's just do that. And then I have to remind myself, like, oh, that person doesn't have the education on A, B, and C. So when I tell them to do, P, Q, and R, they're like 20 steps away
Hmm.
from that, right? You got to give them like,
Facts.
you got to give
Correct.
them a little bit. So yeah, I have that reflection all the time. So I'll try to find those notes and I'll send them to you. I know they're in my phone somewhere. So
Okay,
I'll
yeah, definitely
I'll
please
send
do.
those caffeine notes to you for sure. Um, Anything else you want to say to the audience before we hop off? Wrap it up.
Not nothing. I appreciate you guys for listening. If you made it to this far, hopefully it was knowledgeable and it definitely gave you some form of not motivation, but inspiration to pretty much
Mhm.
take action today and make your life better from today on forth.
Yeah. Where can people find you and reach out, man? Or get your
Okay.
services?
Yeah, so mostly I would say Instagram is the best way to reach me because that's my in quotes website. So if you go
Yeah.
to Panther Mentality on Instagram, you can go to my link tree and you could find everything else from my other socials, my business consultations and things like that. So that's where you can find me and everything else included under the Panther paradigm.
Cool. I love that. What's the jersey you're wearing?
It's not, it's actually like a team
Oh,
that's
okay.
locally over here. I
Okay,
think it's
where?
called like the Whalers. No, it's not the Whalers. I don't
No,
even
not
know.
the Whalers. The
Yard Goats. It's
Whalers
called
used
the
to be a
Yard
team.
Goats.
The Yard
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
it's the
yeah,
same
yeah.
colors. That's what mixed me up. But
Okay,
it's called the
yeah.
Yard Goats. So it's like a
Um,
semi-professional baseball team in
yeah,
Hartford, Connecticut.
they're D double A. I was gonna say D2, but that's college. They're double A.
Yeah, exactly. But double A
They're
correct.
so this is the last point I was gonna say. They are from the Colorado Rockies, and the only reason I know that is because of your boy Connor Clark. So shout out to uh, you for being the bridge and getting Connor to hop on and do the podcast. Because it was a great conversation talking to him. He's real cool. It was awesome. And it was funny how we started talking and he saw your podcast clips and then reached out to me and then we got lost in the sauce of like scheduling something and then I talked to him and
Hmm.
he was like, yeah, man, Panther. And we started talking about you a little bit. So um, if you do want to tune in, it was the last podcast that came out was with Connor. And we talked about you a little bit, but I think it'd be cool for you to listen to anyways. He obviously is in the same realm of health and fitness, and he's got his own company going on, and he's training people online and doing all that. So, and he actually grew up uh, basically in the same city that I live in now. So, which is
Isn't that
crazy.
crazy?
Yeah, wild.
She grew up in your city, but he grew up in my town. Like it's very
Yeah.
crazy how things
Yeah.
just come
He
together.
grew
Wow.
up in Boca. He moved to Connecticut because that's where his parents were from. That's where he met you. Then I met you at college when we were in Massachusetts, and then he moved. Uh, and then I moved down here, and it just
Mhm.
happens to be this triangle of
Yeah, of
craziness.
connection.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. Well, dude, thank you. I appreciate you. As always, I think we should just keep in contact a little bit more if possible. As
Most
always,
definitely, because life goes
yeah.
so fast.
um,
Life
it,
passes by way too fast. So
it does, bro. It does, and you got to keep close, genuine people near you. So I've always regarded you as that. It's funny how far we've come. I remember the first time sitting in Woodland, not Woodland, Rockwell, chatting with you
yeah,
over uh, what was it? It was summer break because you were there working. I was there doing an internship for athletic training and shit. And I remember us linking up, smoking and shit, and
yeah,
shooting hoops and doing all sorts of shit. And here we are, 7 years later. It's got to be. Um, so always appreciate your time, dude. Appreciate your insight. Appreciate your grind and how you go after it and just wake up and try to make the world a better place. Everyone who's listening, reach out if you can. Just talk to him. He's willing to have conversations and chat with you guys and try to help you out. As you can tell, he wants to just help people. He wants to focus his time and energy on health and wellness and making himself better and making you guys better. So reach out. Definitely check out his content, his video production if you're in the area, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut, uh, what's close to Jersey, New York, right? I
yeah.
guess
Jersey, New York. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, you
yeah.
could,
I
you
always
could.
think about going up the line, but there's the opposite
Yeah,
as well. That's
there's
true.
down the line. Yeah. And
Mhm.
if you make it all the way down the line and you come down to South Florida, bro, make a trip. Winter's a good time to do it. We could make a video.
It's ever.
Just saying, we could. So if you want,
Well,
if
no,
you
we'll
do,
make it happen because
yeah,
I want to
bro,
go out to Florida. I already have plans to go out there this January. So
you
I was
are.
out there a couple years ago.
I remember that. Yeah,
Actually, we kind of talked a little bit, yeah, during that time, but I think
yeah,
things you were busy, I was busy, and it just didn't really collide. But
it didn't
I definitely
happen.
this time want to make something happen where we could connect, like you said, do a workout, get some content together, and
Yeah,
just pretty much share each other's company and presence. So
yeah,
that'd be
I
very
would love to,
awesome.
bro. I'd love to show you around, drop a couple places down here we can go to and try out, see if I can help you out, connect you with anybody. That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
All right, man. Much love, everyone listening. Comment, subscribe, share. As always, reach out to uh, Panther. Never forget, I am, we are, life is limitless. Peace out. Thank you.
Peace.